Welcome to the podcast, Kill Complacency. Here we inspire intentional living by motivating others to handle hard better. And here's your host, Marty Hoffman.
Hey, so excited about this episode with Pearl and Serene. They are the masterminds behind Trim Healthy Mama. They have been a big part of our lives for the last decade, probably a little more than that. My wife is actually a coach for them, and they just have a terrific story. The first part here, we actually go into kind of their why as to what was going on 15, 20 years ago when they started this journey and what brought about THM as we know it today. So that was really fun for me to hear the backstory, and I hope it's beneficial to you as well in your journey to better your life, be more intentional, be a better version of you. Today's guest is Pearl and Serene, and they are the authors or they have the brand of Trim Healthy Mamas. I know they have a lot of books under their name, so I don't want to get into that too much. But first off, I just want to say thank you, Pearl and Serene, for impacting so many lives. My wife was introduced to you guys probably 12 years ago with your Trim Healthy Mama. Was it a cookbook or the really big book?
It was a cookbook / everything book / encyclopedia.
Yes.
Yes. And a friend of hers gave it to her, and my wife's always been healthy. But she loved your philosophy of being able to eat stuff, but stack it correctly and put things in the right category and trick the system.
Oh my goodness. I love how you just described our whole plan. Being able to eat stuff, but stacking it correctly. Oh my goodness. Thank you. We just have to borrow that, Serene.
It's simple. It's profound. Sometimes it takes a guy,
right?
To undo the many, many words women want to describe things with.
Eat stuff, stack it properly. Thank you.
So my wife had told me about it for years, and you, when a wife tells you stuff, like, you listen, but you don't really listen, and she's totally going to hear this later. And I'm going to hear about it. But what happens in my relationship with my wife is she'll seed me with all this information, but a lot of times I have to hear it for myself. So 2 years ago, I listened to one of your Trim Healthy Mama, I think it was like your niece or someone wrote it.
Oh, the Trim Healthy Future?
Yeah.
The Trim Healthy Future, yes. I listened to that because I'd been listening to my wife, but I wanted to hear it for myself. And it was so good. And I didn't do your other because it wasn't on audio. And that's what I learned best on audio.
That's interesting.
So
have you listened to I'm That Girl?
3 times.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
So you're that guy then.
I teased my wife last week. I said, I really want to use AI to, or maybe Word document and replace her or she for me or for him. And because I know it's written to women, but it's biblical, and there's so many mindset things in there that apply across the board. And guys need that message too. So
well, thanks.
Anyway. But I listened to I'm That Girl because my wife was going to do a book club on it. And I want to study my wife, and I want to be able to have those conversations. And so I did it, and I was like, oh, Ginger, this is like gold. Like, you've got to do this. So anyway, as a way of introduction, I want to say thank you for impacting so many lives, including mine and my wife's, and now she's trying to impact people she coaches. So thank you.
That's amazing. Yeah. So Ginger's a Trim Healthy coach. So that's incredible for us. We love our coaches.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I would kind of like to hear your backstory. Like, how did THM begin? What were you thinking has it been, when did the journey begin? Was it like 20 years ago?
I think so, yeah. Would you say that, Serene? Well, let's see. The book took us 5 years to write, that first book, and it was released in 2012. So 12 minus 5 is.
I would say,
good at math. Yeah.
I would say
2007.
it actually started earlier than that, because you have to start from our failures.
Yeah.
You have to start from all of the CRAP that led us to truth, right? And then we didn't have that truth until we went through the junk. And so it really started going through all the junk is when the book started.
Yeah, and the junk was, well, we are two nerds, right? And we were born nerds into this crunchy home where our mother was a crunchy, and back then nobody was crunchy. And our grandmother was crunchy, meaning they were very health-minded. And, back then no one even kind of knew to make whole grain bread. It was like you didn't think about fiber, you didn't think about nutrients, you just bought the stuff from the shelves. And so we grew up in this household where we just got this passion for how to eat healthy. What's the healthiest diet? And boy, did that take us down many wrong roads.
Oh, yes, because we went through all the fads and all of the cray-cray that was wisdom of man. It wasn't necessarily wisdom of God. And it led us to very broken places. And we didn't do those fads for just like a month at a time. Let's just try it. I mean, we held on for years to each one. We've got to get to maybe you need longer on this to feel good, or, things like that. Or maybe we felt good at the beginning, but we were like, okay, we'll keep on with this because this is making us feel good. And then we crash years in. So like I was a raw food vegan. So I was totally vegan, but I did it in a raw plant food way where it was just like you don't have even the cooked plant foods. So it was very, very extreme. And I was like that for 7 or 8 years and through pregnancies and stuff. So we did crash. We crashed and burned. You crashed and burned on all kinds of
I think that what got us to this place
diets.
where, you thanked us for helping many women. I don't feel like I want to receive that. I mean, you're supposed to receive thanks, but it wasn't anything that we did. It was the failures that we went through that brought us through into truth. We were just so determined to find that truth in the end because we were so done.
We were so done. I mean, a little bit of my story, and Pearl will share a little bit of hers, but in my dogma, and I was very, very staunch about these beliefs, because, there is kind of in the wisdom of man, I mean, it goes round and round and round, and now you've got the carnivore and all the different wisdom of men. But at the time, it was like there was a kind of a platform went up and up and up, and at the top was like you start off being a like meat eating, I don't know, cigarette smoking, alcohol drinking person, and then you get rid of red meat, and then you get rid of and then you get to this vegetarian, and from there is maybe over vegetarian, and then you get to vegan, then you get to raw plant vegan, and then I suppose you get to fruitarian and aeritarian, where you just survive on air, right? But I mean, there are books on that. I mean, this is cray-cray. This is extreme. Well, I got up the ladder to the raw plant food vegan, and you're meant to feel incredible and very spiritually like clear, mind clear, everything. And I was falling apart, and I was so broken, and I loved the Bible and had used the Bible as my foundation, but I was so broken. I peeled the Bible apart with my nose, like through tears, saying, why do I feel so undone? And I saw that scripture in Deuteronomy that talks about how he gives, the harvest of the field. He gives the blood of the grape, the fat of the ram, the milk of the goat. And it goes through all of the food groups. And a light went off in my head. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like there is practical wisdom in here for me, for my health. Everything's included. And my whole life I had done a big like campaigns on exclusion. And I went over to Pearl and said, oh my goodness, this is incredible. Like I feel like a light bulb's gone off. And you, Pearl, where were you
I was
at
on
that
my
point?
own journey. I was, I had been 11 years as a vegan, never as extreme as Serene. I always, I call myself the drive-through Sue, and she's the purist. And I had off tangents where I would like eat junk food. She was never a junk food person, but I like to imbibe in the junk food. Even though I was raised crunchy, I never had her self-control. So, as much as I tried these other things, I'd also eat McDonald's fries. And so, but I found myself at this done place. We tried everything that was out there. I went low carb. I tried all the things, and not because we had big, massive weight problems, we just really wanted to know what really is the design as for us humans. How should we eat? Because he must care about it. And so this whole trim healthy thing came out of finding that out, the absolute truth. When you push away all the man says this and this doctor says that and that book says that, just get rid of it for a second and find out what God says and how our bodies work with that. And that's why this has resonated with so many women, because it strips away all the man says.
And that's why, you know, we don't even fumble when we hear the new news flash, you know, or the new sensational line on the internet somewhere about, oh, finding out so-and-so that, you know, grains are evil, or like for our body, they're terrible for our body, or, you know, saponins or oxalates or phytates, or what's the new and the latest thing to be scared of. And we just go straight to the Bible. It's our filter. And we're like, nah, I don't care. The Bible said bread is the staff of life. And we're not talking about Monsanto stripped weird wheat, but, you know, ancient grains. Sorry, it's in there. It's in the Bible. We're eating them. Butter. He was fed to, when Abraham fed the angel, you know, he fed butter of kine. I'm like, okay, I'm eating. It was good enough for Jehovah, you know.
But that was our, I guess, long answer of where were we 20 years ago? We were broken and done and trying to find our way out.
Yeah. So, you both run this journey together, obviously, right?
Well, we are our yin and our yang, and not that we're into Chinese medicine. I mean, I'm sure it has its place, but I am extreme on one way, and she is very practical on another, and so we help each other. It's I feel like Trim Healthy Mama, if it was just me leading the way, it would have been off in the woods a long time ago. But you know,
me too. Yes, but we're each other's accountability and encouragement, and strip off the edges that don't need to be there too. In your face, sister kind of talk. Yeah.
You guys have always been super close, right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, when I was 6, she pulled me down the stairs by my hair because we shared a room and I kept messing up. So besides from that, yeah.
I don't recall.
I'll never forget, but anyway.
And then so you guys began this journey together of finding out God's ideal for food. And the way I put it was, you know, tricking your body with eating everything, but in the right, you know, in the right way. That is what, like, I would hear my wife talk about it, but when I listened to the book, The Trim Healthy Future, that's what I loved about it, was when I wanted a snack, I could eat a snack. It was just, it needed to be the right things that M&Ms weren't going to do.
You learned about what real food is and what real food's not. Yeah.
It was definitely about eating and celebrating food. And because that's a big one for women, you know, there's a point where, you know, you're taking out certain things, exclusion, but the peak of that is just taking out food altogether. And there's a real pressure on women, especially when they get to a certain age, you know, past 40 and their metabolisms are slowing down. You know, now it's the fasting big trend, you know, and it's all about how many hours you can go without eating.
And for men too, of course. But men, as much as we believe it catches up at the end to men, and you know, there's a bit of a slowdown metabolically and thyroid hormones and things like that, which will be coming, all of that will be coming out in our new book. For women, it's doubly as brutal. These things, all these extremes are just twice as brutal for women, because we have a different brain, and we have it's called kisspeptin receptors in our brain. And those mean, and it means that we're much more susceptible to when calories go down, or when carbs go down, or when we have to wait a long time to eat our next meal. We're designed this way. We have to keep the species going, right? There's no woman, no babies. And so our bodies, they're very tuned into, is there enough food? So we have to have enough food. It just has to be the right food.
Yeah, so good. So I have a 20-year-old daughter.
How old are you? You look so young. You don't have to tell me how old you are. Sorry, that was rude. But you look really young. You look
43.
really young. Yes.
But I have a 20-year-old daughter, and I guess that would be another question I would have for you is, what would your message be to her? She's 20. You know, the metabolism is so much faster, and I don't know when that starts to shift for girls. You probably do way more, and I don't even want to necessarily get into that. But what advice I feel like this advice is applicable, and a lot of it's a mindset, but it's so applicable for even young women. But obviously, I feel like with my wife with coaching, it seems like the pitch is to people more her age. But what advice would you have to a 20-year-old? And I know you guys probably have 20-year-old daughters as well.
I have a 19-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
So
you
go
first.
Okay. Well, Serena and I have said this. What we, if we could go back to our 20-year-old selves, what would we say? And we would say, baby girl, get your protein and keep those muscles, keep them around rather than skipping meals, or being too low calorie and not looking after your lean body mass. Look after it, feed it, fuel it, protect it.
Yeah, and protect your metabolism too, because all of that yo-yo dieting that often starts around late teens, 20s, where you start thinking, "Ooh, am I skinny enough?" All that crazy pressure from, whatever fashion is out there, but it ruins the metabolism. In fact, some of the incretin hormones now, which are becoming all the rage, they mimic them. The GLP-1, those peptide therapies used today, they work incredibly, keeping the metabolism running smoothly, and
they're naturally made in our
they're
bodies.
naturally made in the body. But yo-yo dieting, which often starts around that time, that can incredibly tank incretin hormones, of course, and tank many, many other parts of the metabolism. But those hormones are oftentimes where they cannot even be built back and up into the body unless you start taking something mimicking those. Because it's not the way we're meant to live in a way that's having extreme calorie restriction.
But I think a lot of women and young women, girls even, end up doing the extremes, end up going on a super low cal or fasting or, removing carbs, because standard diet is a sugar eating way of diet, right?
Okay.
And it puffs us, especially us females. We get puffy with standard American eating. And that's what it does. Standard American eating is actually an extreme for the body. It's not a normal way to eat. So then you get puffy, right? So maybe, a young 20-year-old woman thinks, I need to really shed 10 pounds. I'm puffy. So what does she do? She goes to an extreme when really
anchoring everything around protein and getting in like just getting in the gym even and lifting some weights or just not being sedentary, because oftentimes when you yo-yo diet, you're exhausted and it's not really, you don't really have the energy to exercise.
Yeah. So if she would just, instead of, hey, what can I pull out? How about what you could put in, which is that anchor of protein and, and the good things, those beautiful, healthy carbs, those sweet potatoes, those beans, and then you've got your greens and we're not saying never eat a speck of sugar. We're just saying if it rules your life, you're going to get puffy and then you're going to choose an extreme and then you're going to lose your incretin hormones and
your leptin's going to tank. And
your thyroid's it's a vicious circle.
Yeah. And also your hormones are going to be all over the place because they get whipped by, blood sugar that's spiking and crashing and spiking and crashing. Like hormones need stable blood sugar.
But it might sound so much to a young woman, well, we're saying don't do all that and get off sugar. But really, once you understand that it's all about not eating sugar, but it's about fueling your body correctly, the emphasis goes away from what I can't have and it comes to what I can have. And it's just a beautiful mindset of, I'm so blessed. I get to eat. I get to eat all this jolly good food.
If you were a fly on the wall in either of our houses, you would hear us talking to our girls. Like, when was the last time you ate? 5 hours ago? No. You need to put some protein in that body. Like, what? You got no carb on that plate? Like, so just because we're saying be conscious about not spiking your blood sugar with modern, Western carbs, we're saying, hey, you need to put a sweet potato with that fish or something. You need to put some beans on that plate or some quinoa or something. But we're very much protecting them from ruining the metabolism. It starts at that age.
So the intentional thing then is to add protein, continue to stay active,
and eat every
cut the sugar.
3 to 4 hours. Like stop missing
eat
meals.
More than you think.
Well, we're not saying like like abuse your body. We're just saying don't skip meals. Like I don't let my daughters like go over 4 hours without eating. And I encourage them 3 hours, eat something. But if they're not hungry because they ate something really big before, I'm saying, okay, at the 4-hour mark, just put some more protein in.
Yeah. And when we say, movement, we say protect that lean body mass, because that's going to keep your metabolism alive as you get in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. If you let it go, that's when you have to start from the beginning. And that's hard. But if you protect it through strength training, plus enough carbs and protein, and of course you're going to get your fats, of course, you won't have to go through that big decline that so many of us have to when we get insulin resistant later on in the years.
And we're not telling young girls to get on the treadmill for 45 minutes or anything crazy like that.
Yeah.
Just lifting weights is best bang for your buck.
I'm going to hop in here. I've seen some of your workout videos and I love them because you guys use common things around the house, right? So this working out doesn't have to be going to the gym, does it? It can be doing aerobic things.
You're talking about our work-ins that you've seen, like those DVDs
I've walked
that we did?
in on my wife a few times doing things with tomato cans and applesauce and
yeah, we have moved on. That's a beautiful base, and we love that. And we always tell our woman that's where you start. You get the movements, you get the basic squat, the basic lunge, the basic hip hinge, and you know how to do it well and have beautiful form with just body weight alone, and maybe just a few little things like we said around the house. But we've moved on to progress. Always keep progressing your body. Contending. We're a big believer in that word, contending, and so now we're lifting gym equipment, definitely.
But we don't have to. We don't go to a gym. I don't have a gym. I have a pile of free weights, dumbbells in the corner.
That's what we use. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I just wanted to try to emphasize to the audience that this can be simple.
Oh yes.
You guys were an example to me of somebody who can use a milk jug and use it to work out. It doesn't have to be a gym membership. If
it does
it's
not.
out of the.
No, we've never had a gym membership, but I do like to, occasionally ask for my birthday or Christmas, like a barbell rack or a squat rack or something, because I'm into it. It's my hobby now because it grows, you see. Whatever you get into at first, I just started at the work ends. Like I started with tomato cans and my own body weight, and now I've got a big bar on my back with big weighted plates. But you see, it got in my head and it gave me energy, and I responded to it, and I saw how much I could eat. It makes you be able to eat a lot. So
that's great. Hey, just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives, to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there, spread the message, share. And if you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store in show notes as well. But it's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com. Mindsetshop.com. Check it out. Thank you guys so much, and have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Kill Complacency. Follow and share our podcast to change lives and inspire growth.